Let's talk romance interconnected standalones. Hi, I'm Lacey. I love to read. Thanks for coming to my channel. Today I have 5 different romance interconnected standalone series, which are series that you can read together and you get more out of when you read them in order, but they're not necessarily required to read all the series in the right order or even at the same time. So it's kind of nice because you have the flexibility to read whenever you want and you're not like missing out on anything. You just get hints of the couples later on in the book. So I have 5, all varying lengths. Some are 2-book, 3-book, 4-book, 5-book series, and I'm really excited to talk about them. So let's get into it. The first interconnected standalone series that I have is the Skyland series by Kennedy Ryan. So this series is set in Atlanta. There are 3 books and they follow 3 best friends. To give some stats, Before I Let Go was the first book and it was 391 pages and I rated it 5 stars. The next book in the series is This Could Be Us. This is 416 pages and I rated it 5 stars. The last book is Can't Get Enough and this is 432 pages and I rated it 4.25 stars. So it is in order of my ranking as well of the series. I just love the series so much. Like I said, it's set in Atlanta with 3 best friends. The first book is about Yasmin and Josiah. They're married, but their marriage is over, essentially. They had a lot of shared trauma, a lot happened in their relationship, and they just grew apart in ways they thought was unfixable. So at the time you're reading this, Josiah has a new girlfriend and they're working together as they own restaurants together and co-parenting. And then one thing leads to another, they kiss and they aren't sure if they're ready to let go. It's so good. It's such a beautiful book. It will make you feel all the emotions. I love this book, honestly, probably the most out of all the Kennedy Ryan books I've read. It's just so beautiful, and there's definitely some heavy topics, so look that up if that's something that would be a concern to you, but it's just beautiful, and the way that they love each other and come back to each other is just so amazing. And then the next book, This Could Be Us. But this book is so good. It follows Soledad and Judah, and Judah and Soledad are like, they're tied, and they're tied in a way that's kind of tricky because they're tied to her husband, which ends up being her ex-husband. He is also a single dad of 2 autistic boys, and it was really sweet to see autism representation in a book, and it was really sweet to see how they co-parented, Judah and his ex-wife, how they co-parented, and it was just really such a beautiful read. I felt like it was very leaning towards women's fiction because it's a lot about Soledad and her finding herself and finding who she is as a single woman before she's with Judah, and Judah just happens to be there and is always a support, which is awesome. But it's definitely more so about Soledad's story and how she becomes this amazing, hardworking single mom overnight and has to do it all, and she does, and the way she does it is just beautiful, and the way she leans on her friends is awesome. I just love this book. It was so good. And then the last book, which just came out, Can't Get Enough, is about Hendrix and Maverick. Hendrix is an amazing business owner. She works in the entertainment industry and she's an agent for all these famous people, and she meets Maverick at a party, and it's kind of like a forbidden romance because Maverick just ended his relationship with her new producer of her show. So very much forbidden. Hendrix has a lot going on. She is dealing with figuring out how to care for her ailing mother from states away. She's figuring out how to run her business, how to start this TV series that she's really excited about, and she's trying to balance all of that while also deciding whether or not she wants to get to know Maverick. And it's a really good book. I just personally was not as into this book as the other books. I just feel like I just didn't relate to her story as much because there's not a lot of topics within the book that relate to me. And I think that's why it was harder for me to get into and harder for me to rate it higher. However, it's still a really good book. I don't think you should skip it. I just think that the first 2 books are definitely where it's at with this series. The next series I have is the Part of Your World trilogy by Abby Jimenez. So this is set in Minnesota. Fun times. And the first book is Part of Your World. This book was 388 pages and I rated it 5 stars. The next book is Yours Truly. This was 398 pages and I rated it 4.75 stars. And then the last book is Just for the Summer. And this book was 418 pages and I rated it 4.5 stars. So these books all are interconnected in a different way. So it's not a friend group. The female main character works with the female main character in this book. The male main character also works with the female main character. Then in this book, these 2 seem unrelated, which they kind of are, and then there's a friend in common. So this is, I would say, like the least interconnected out of the series I have today, but It is really good. I think that Abby Jimenez does a really great job of mental health representation and really realistic stories where it's not all about romance. There's a lot of things that people are going through, either with family dynamics or mental health or just life popping up. And I feel like it's not only a romance, but you get a lot of people in it and people experiencing things, which I always love in a book. The first book, this book is about Alexis and Daniel. Alexis and Daniel randomly meet when her car breaks down. He tows her, they go to the same bar, they go home together, and they just talk and they have a great time. And then they figure, okay, we're never gonna talk again. Daniel lives in a small town, Alexis lives in the big city. So, fast forward, they can't get each other out of their minds. That one night is something they'll never forget. And so they keep hanging out. And Alexis goes to visit the small town a lot, which is really fun because I love small town romances. And it's interesting to see her kind of question her career and her life. She's a surgeon and her family owns a hospital. And so she has a lot of pressure on her. And so she's always escaping to see Daniel and go to the small town. And there's a lot of charm and it's really sweet, but I just love this book so much. There's a reverse age gap, so she is older and he's younger. And it's kind of just, does she want to be part of his world and vice versa? It's so good. I really loved it. The next book, which is a lot of people's favorites, is Yours Truly. And this book is about Bree and Jacob. And Bree's a nurse. She is going through a lot. She just got divorced. Oh, that's another thing in the other book. There's also divorce in that book. But she just got divorced. Her brother needs a kidney transplant. And she just started to work for this doctor who just got hired. And he is just really, really disrupting her workflow. And to apologize, he writes her a really nice letter, and that starts kind of their letters back and forth. He has anxiety, and it's really nice to see. It's a very realistic representation of anxiety, and it's nice to see it coming from a male perspective and not just a female, which was really cool. And it's just a beautiful, sweet, understanding love. I have a reading vlog on this book, and I think I have a reading vlog on this book as well. But it's just a beautiful book, and I understand why a lot of people love it, and it's really nice to feel understood and heard in a book, and I think this is exactly what Yours Truly does. And then last but not least is Just for the Summer. So this book is about Emma and Justin, and Emma finds this Reddit where a guy says that he has this curse. Every time that he dates someone and they break up, they go find their soulmate. They go get married and they have their happily ever after. And Emma does the exact same. She feels like every person she breaks up with ends up finding their forever. So they decide, how about we break the curse by us dating each other and then we'll split off and then we'll find our perfect match. So they decide to do that. She's a travel nurse, so she decides to take her travel contract to Minnesota to be around Justin. Justin's dealing with a lot. His mom is going to jail and he has to take over custody of his siblings. So there's a lot going on. Emma has a lot of different family dynamics as well that come into play with her mother. And it's a very layered book. Like, it looks very cutesy and adorable, but it's very layered and a lot goes on. And I think it's just a beautiful book of people leaning on each other and dealing with hardships and really coming to a head with some of these issues that they have had their whole life. And I just think it was really beautiful. And I just loved, honestly, this whole series. I think this whole series was very layered and beautiful. And I think you'll find a lot of yourself in these books, which is, it makes sense why everyone loves them. And I do understand these books have a lot of like pop culture references, which is something I don't prefer in books. I don't really want to see the word TikTok. I don't really want to see even Instagram. I don't really need to see the specific names of our platforms. You can just say social media or you could just say the internet. I don't need to know. But I do think if you can set that aside, these books are really beautiful. And then we're moving on to a series that I just finished and I have a reading vlog on as well, and it's the Honey Mountain series. So this book is 5 books set in Honey Mountain, which is a made-up small town, and it follows 5 siblings. They're all girls, so 5 sisters, and it's really, really cute and sweet, and you'll really enjoy it if you love small town romance. So the first book is Always Mine. This book was 352 pages and I rated it 4.75 stars. The next book is Ever Mine. This book is also 352 pages and I rated it 4.5 stars. The next book is Make You Mine. This book was 368 pages and I rated it 4.25 stars. The next book is Simply Mine. This book was 328 pages and I rated it 5 stars. And then we have the last book, which is Only Mine, which is 384 pages and I rated it 4.5 stars. So my ranking of these is Simply Mine, Always Mine, Ever Mine, Only Mine, and then Make You Mine. Starting with Always Mine. This book is about Vivian and Nico, and Vivian is one of the sisters, of course, and her childhood best friend was Nico. Nico is now a firefighter who works for her dad, who is the fire chief. So they are best friends and he's dealing with a lot of stuff with his family. She is opening a bakery and doing a small business in their small town. And she kind of makes a deal like, can you show me some things so I'm ready for the next person? And he agrees. And of course they fall for each other because they already have that love there as childhood best friends. So it's so cute. It really throws you into this small town and draws you in so well that you're just obsessed. And then you have to keep going, even though it did take me a while to keep going, but I have a reading vlog, so if you want to see more, I have vlogged all these books. And then the next book is Evermine, and this book is about Everly and Hawk, who were childhood best friends, lovers, not speaking, and now they're working together in the same town. They both work for sports teams. So he is a really famous hockey player and she is a sports psychologist and gets hired by his team to help him because he has a lot of challenges with his mental game. So he agrees if they go back to their small town to work on it. So they're back in their small town, they're rekindling things, they're having a fun time, they're figuring out why they broke up. It's so good. And then next up is Make You Mine. And this book is Ashlyn and Jace. Ashlyn is the youngest of the sisters and she ends up being Jace's nanny. So Jace has 2 girls and he is recently divorced and he needs help. He needs someone to live in his house and help his children because he is a firefighter as well. He's also significantly older than Ashlyn. And so all those things kind of come into play. This book was so cute, the dynamic of Ashlyn being their nanny. He has 2 daughters and it's just so sweet. And the only thing that made me dislike it was the conflict. The conflict really, really triggered me, which is honestly a personal problem and it's not a book problem. But I think that it's still so cute. If you like nanny and single dad and like age gap, this is definitely the book for you. But I also think you'll find something in every book. And then next is my favorite, which is Simply Mine, Charlotte and Ledger. Charlotte is a school teacher and she's a kindergarten teacher at the local school. Ledger is an architect and he comes to her school to see if he can build a middle school with his company. And it rekindles their friendship, kind of relationship that they had before they both went away to school. And it's so good. I just loved their relationship. I loved how realistic it was. I loved kind of the brother's best friend. Oh, I forgot to add that. It's brother's best friend. And he's also there for a wedding. So his sister's getting married and they're the best man and the maid of honor. So it's really fun. There's a lot going on. It's just like, I love Charlotte. I love Charlotte so much. And I think that's why I love this book so much is I relate to her a lot. And so I just thought it was beautiful and it was so fun. And then the last book is Dylan and Wolf's story. Dylan and Charlotte are twins and Dylan is definitely like, take no shit. She is very sarcastic, very herself, and I love that. And she's a lawyer, and she's trying to join the hockey team that her brother-in-law works for as a sports lawyer, and she has to meet with the current owner of the team's son. His name's Wolf, and she accidentally meets him already earlier and flips him off and makes fun of him. And then they have to work together, and their relationship starts on a trial basis. So she starts as the lawyer and they have to travel together for a month to see if she's a good fit. And it's so fun. Their banter's so fun. It's really nice to see a hardened shell character be sweet and be loved. And I just thought it was a really great way to end this series. But I love this series. I feel like I don't talk about it enough, but if you love small town and if you really want to relate to characters, this series is for you. And then I have my shortest series, which is just a duology, and it's Mr. Wrong Number and The Love Wager. And this is both by Lynn Painter. And these 2 books were really fun, super easy to get into, and you just fly through them. So I definitely recommend if you are looking for a really easy like series to get into or just an enjoyable, fun read, both of these are definitely it. Mr. Wrong Number was 342 pages and I rated it 5 stars. I read it in one sitting. It was so engaging. And then The Love Wager was 306 pages and I rated it 4.25 stars. So starting with Mr. Wrong Number, this is about Olivia and Colin, and Olivia has to move in with her brother, and at the same time she starts getting random texts from a number, and so she just starts texting them back and they kind of spark up this text relationship, and it turns out that that person is her brother's best friend, and it's just so fun. Their banter's so good and you just get into it really fast that you just don't want to stop reading, and it's just an enjoyable read, which is all I'm looking for when I pick up a Lynn Painter book. And then the next book in this series is The Love Wager. This book is about Hallie and Jack, and they have a one-night stand and then find each other on dating apps and decide that they really don't want to be together at all. But what if they would be each other's wingman and go on dates at the same time and then meet up afterwards to talk about it and debrief? Which is all fine and dandy, you know, it's really fun. They definitely don't want to be together. And then they decide, well, how about we be fake dates for a wedding? And that's where things take a turn. So it's just really fun. Lynn Painter writes such fun rom-coms, and I feel like if you're looking for something light and just enjoyable, these books are definitely ones you should pick up. And then last but certainly not least, another series that I have a reading vlog on is the Windy City series, which I know is very popular and for good reason. I held off for a very long time and it was silly. It was silly. It's a really good series. It is a sports romance series set in Chicago with hockey as the first book, then basketball, then baseball, back to hockey. It's so good. It's 5 friends. Some siblings are in there, which I'll explain when I get to those books, but it's just such a good series. And it's similar to Honey Mountain, where you find something to relate to, whether it's the female main character, the male main character, someone in the background. There's always something, and there's a lot of challenges that these people face that is similar to real life, which is really nice to see, but also see that they still get their happy ending, which is fun. So the first book I have is Mile High. This book is 490 pages and I rated it 4 stars. The next book is The Right Move. This book is 428 pages and I rated it 4.75 stars. The next book is my favorite in the series, which is Caught Up. This book is 470 pages and 5 stars, 100%. The next book is Play Along, which is 384 pages and I rated it 4.75 stars. And then the last book is Rewind It Back, which is 491 pages and I rated it 4.75 stars. So, to get into it, the first book is about Xanders and Stevie. Stevie is a flight attendant for a hockey team. Xanders is the top player and biggest playboy of that hockey team. It is a forbidden love. They're not supposed to be together. They are not allowed to fraternize, but they can't stay away from each other. And I loved getting into this. And I know that this is a lot of people's least favorite, mine included. However, once again, it's relatability. And so it's definitely a really good start to the series and it bridges you into the next book, which is The Right Move, which is Ryan, who is twins with Stevie, and Indy, who also works as a flight attendant for the team and is Stevie's best friend. So Indy has a breakup and she has to move in with Ryan, who is Stevie's brother, as I just said. And they are very different. Ryan is very type A, he's organized, he wants everything one certain way, and Indy comes in and just ruins that. She brings color into his bland apartment, she puts things everywhere, she reads her books and puts all her romance books on his bookshelf, and he honestly does not want her to live there. He is very, very famous as a NBA player and he does not like to go out. He does not like the attention on him. He doesn't like that everything he does is scrutinized. And so he doesn't want someone in his apartment. He doesn't want someone who he doesn't know their motives or why they're there, but it's his sister, so he does what she asks and they form an unlikely friendship and then they start fake dating because it helps him look like he is not just focused on basketball, and it helps her to kind of get back at her ex because her ex is a huge fan of him. And it's so good. It's so beautiful. And then my favorite is Caught Up, which is Kai and Miller and Max. So Kai is a single dad. His son is Max. He didn't know he was a single dad until Max was put on his doorstep. So he becomes a single dad overnight. He is a baseball player and his coach's daughter, Miller, comes when she is kind of at a standstill with her job. So she is a baker, very famous, doing amazing things. She's consulting at different restaurants, but she's just lost her spark. And so she figures what better thing to do than to go visit her dad and get to go everywhere with the baseball team. And the way to stay with the baseball team is to be a nanny for Kai's son, Max. So it's a nanny, single dad romance, and I just love them. I love Miller. I love that she was trying to figure out, should she stay, should she go, what she should do for her job and what's gonna be fulfilling to her. And it was just so good. I love this book so much and I think there's so much I got out of it. And I just loved their banter. Their banter was so good. It was so funny. And then next up is Play Along. So this book is about Isaiah and Kennedy. Isaiah is brothers with Kai, so he's also a baseball player, and Kennedy works for the team, and she's trying to be the lead doctor, and the doctor in charge is just super sexist and does not want that for her. And so she is absolutely not fraternizing with any of the guys because she wants to be taken seriously. And Isaiah is just obsessed with her. He really is. And one day, when they're in Vegas for this trip, she's there for a bachelorette, he is there with his team. They get married. And in order to save her reputation and his honestly doesn't really serve him except that he wants to be with her. They decide to keep the marriage going and kind of help each other out in different ways. And it's so good. It was so fun. I love Isaiah. I love Kennedy. And it was just really fun to stay in the baseball world. And then last, but certainly not least, is Rewind It Back. This is Rio and Hallie. And Rio and Hallie were best friends as teenagers. They were in love. They broke up, didn't see each other for 6 years. And then just so happens that Hallie moves in next door. She's an interior designer and just redid Rio's next door neighbor's house. Before he even knew it was her, he asked her if the interior designer could do his house too. So he ends up kind of in forced proximity with his old love, who neither of them have ever moved on. And it's so good. They have such a beautiful relationship. I love the back and forth. It felt like you had a YA novel with an adult romance novel. The only qualm I had was that it took too long to know why they broke up. However, everything else was amazing and I loved reading their story. But those are all the books I have for you today. I hope you found a series that you like, that you maybe want to add to your TBR, or a series that we could talk about in the comments together. Please let me know your favorite interconnected standalones in the comments and anything else you'd like to see from me. But I'm really glad that you're here and I really appreciate you watching my videos, and I hope that the books you're reading are bringing you joy.